An elderly man vanishes in mere minutes while searching for topaz. A scientist disappears into the icy void of Antarctica, and a missionary meets a brutal fate on an island that wants nothing to do with outsiders. These are people who vanished after visiting dangerous locations. The scariest missing persons cases are the ones that happen in the span of mere minutes. On April 29, 1981, 84-year-old Reverend Maurice Dametz set out with his friend David McSherry to search for topaz in the Pike National Forest near Colorado's Rampart Range Road. Doc, who had arthritis and other health issues, relied on McSherry to help him move around and get to his digging spots. Well, after a couple hours, McSherry walked over to check on Doc and told him they'd be heading home soon. He left Doc for just 15 minutes to clean up his tools, but when he came back, Doc had completely vanished. His digging tools were gone as well. There was no sign of a struggle, though, or anything out of place. It was like Doc had just disappeared into thin air. McSherry searched the area and checked the car, but there was no sign of him. The search that followed lasted for days. Dogs couldn't even pick up a scent. No trace of Doc was ever found, and his disappearance remains a mystery to this day. In 1990, after being missing for nearly a decade, Doc was officially declared dead. What could have happened in those few minutes that he was left alone? Could he have wandered off and gotten lost? Was there foul play involved? Unfortunately, we'll probably never know. Carl Disch was a 26-year-old physicist working in one of the most unforgiving places on Earth, Byrd Station in Antarctica. It was May 8th of 1965, and Carl left the radio noise building to walk back to the main station, just 2.1 kilometers away. Somehow he never made it back. When he didn't show up after a while, a search party was sent out. They found his trail in the snow, but the weather turned quickly. They had to head back for fuel, and when they returned, the trail had been covered by snow. They kept searching, but with temperatures plunging to real freezing temperatures, things just weren't looking good. And after days of searching and no sign of Carl, the operation was finally called off, and they presumed him dead. But here's the part that stirs things up. Years later, in 1971, a message supposedly came through from McMurdo Station. It was from someone claiming to be Carl, saying that he was alive, but the authorities quickly dismissed this as a hoax. They've never found a body, though. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened to him. John Allen Chau was an American evangelical Christian missionary who in 2018 made the fateful decision to travel to one of the most dangerous and isolated places on Earth, North Sentinel Island. The island is home to the Sentinelese, a tribe that has had virtually no contact with the outside world, and the little contact they have had has been hostile. They just want to be left alone. The Indian government had even banned travel to the island to protect both the tribe and visitors, but Chau, determined to share his Christian faith, saw this as a mission that he had to complete. He spent months preparing for this trip, arranging for local fishermen to help him reach the island. On November 17th of 2018, Chau made his way to the island. He attempted to approach the tribe and was met with a barrage of arrows. Despite this clear warning, he didn't turn back. The next day, he returned to the island, this time getting much closer to the tribe. Unfortunately, this second attempt would cost him his life. Chau went missing for a little while. He was seen again days later, just not alive. His body was seen being dragged along the beach by the tribe. Sometimes, just best to mind your own business. Kenny Veach was a man who loved exploring remote places. He'd been hiking through Nevada's desert for years, often making YouTube videos about his adventures. One of the most talked about stories was about a strange cave he found while hiking near Nellis Air Force Base. Kenny described this cave as being shaped like an M, and he said that when he went inside, he felt this weird buzzing sensation and an overwhelming fear that made him leave. He said that as soon as he left, the buzzing stopped, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something strange was going on with that cave. In November of 2014, Kenny went back to find the cave again, and he never returned. The next day, his phone was found near a cliff, but there was no sign of Kenny and no sign of a struggle. Authorities searched the area, but never found anything. It was as if he just vanished off the face of the earth. Some people believe the M cave he'd been searching for might have had something to do with his disappearance. Was it a dangerous place? Maybe he stumbled onto something he wasn't supposed to see, some kind of government secret military test. Nobody really knows for sure, but the fact that this strange cave is so close to the infamous Area 51 definitely got people wondering. The Guna caves in India have a pretty ominous nickname, the Devil's Kitchen, which is well deserved. These caves are known for one thing: people vanishing. As of 2016, at least 16 people have disappeared after entering, and nobody's ever found a trace of them. The caves are known for their narrow, winding passageways and steep cliffs, making them a difficult and risky place to explore. Some say that the caves are cursed or that they're haunted by spirits. Others think that people who enter are simply unlucky, with the unpredictable terrain making it easy to get lost or injured. In one case, a group of young tourists entered the caves only to be found hours later, but without one of their friends. No trace of the missing person was ever found. Similar disappearances have happened over the years, and some wonder if the caves may be home to something sinister. It is safe to say, though, that it's probably best to just stay away from these caves altogether. Cameron Twiss, a 28-year-old man from Australia, disappeared in October of 2024 while hiking in the Valbona Valley in Albania. He was supposed to be walking from Valbona to Veach, a small town in the Albanian Alps, and then he would head back home to his hostel. But he never made it. Unfortunately, he'd been hiking alone, even though tourists are usually told to go with a guide. Police, mountain rescue teams, and drones combed the area. They searched for 2 weeks straight, but Cameron was never found. His stuff was still back at the hotel, and no one could figure out where he'd gone. Some people think maybe a bear got him, though bear attacks are super rare in Albania. Cameron wasn't the only one to vanish, though. A man from Lithuania and a Belgian hiker both went missing in the same area just weeks before he did, and neither of them were found either. The Alaska Triangle, it's a spot that's earned quite the reputation. A reputation similar to the Bermuda Triangle, so not a good thing. Stretching from Barrow to Anchorage and down to Juneau, it's a place where people have been disappearing for years without a trace, and no one can really explain why. One of the most famous cases was back in 1972, when a plane carrying U.S. House Majority Leader Hale Boggs just vanished. They searched for ages, but not a single piece of wreckage was ever found. People started to wonder if there was more going on in the area, with theories about UFOs, secret government stuff, or possibly even something paranormal going on. Even in recent years, people have gone missing in the triangle. Sometimes they find them, sometimes they don't. One of the strangest cases was a group of hunters in 2005 who disappeared, and no one ever found what happened to them. And it's not like we don't have the technology to find people now. GPS, drones, you name it, but it still keeps happening. Whatever's going on, the Alaska Triangle may be one of the most mysterious stretches of land on the planet. People go in, but not everyone comes back out. Geraldine Largay was a 66-year-old hiker who went missing on July 22nd of 2013 while hiking the Appalachian Trail. She'd been hiking solo as part of a long journey through the 2,168-mile trail. On the day she disappeared, she stepped off the trail to relieve herself. She got turned around, lost her way, and was never seen again for 2 years. She sent a text to her husband saying she'd gotten lost, but the message didn't go through. The cell service was just too poor out in that remote area. She tried to send several more messages over the next few hours, but none of them went through either. As time passed, Geraldine had to survive on her own, eventually making journal entries that showed how much she was struggling. In one, she even wrote that when they found her body, to contact her husband and daughter, no matter how long it took, that it was very important to her. Well, she was ultimately found in October of 2015, about 2 miles off the trail. A forest worker discovered a tent with what appeared to be human remains inside. The body was later confirmed to be hers, and it was ruled that she died from exposure. Her belongings, including maps, a rain jacket, a blanket, and her journal, were found scattered around the camp, telling the heartbreaking story of how she tried to survive, only to eventually succumb to the harsh conditions. Paula Welden was an 18-year-old college student who vanished without a trace while hiking Vermont's Long Trail in December of 1946. One day, she was just another student at Bennington College, and the next, she was gone, swallowed up by the forest. never to be seen again. On the afternoon of December 1st, Paula told her roommate that she was going for a walk. She didn't bring extra clothes or money or even her ID. She just walked off campus in a red parka and jeans like it was any other day. Multiple people saw her heading toward the trail, and one older couple even warned her that it was getting late and that the weather could turn bad. That was the last confirmed sighting. When she didn't show up for class the next day, her roommate assumed that she'd just stayed out late. But by Monday night, though, it was clear something was wrong. The search kicked off in full force. College staff, local police, even the FBI got involved at one point, but they didn't find anything. Over the years, theories started piling up. Did she run away? Did she meet someone on the trail who attacked her? Some think she fell into one of those weird Bennington Triangle disappearances where people in the area just vanish with no explanation. While there's never been any evidence pointing to any definitive answer, if she got lost, her body should have turned up eventually. If someone took her, well, they never found any suspects. It's like the forest just swallowed her whole. To this day, Paula Welden's disappearance is one of Vermont's biggest mysteries. Steve Fossett was a man who lived for adventure, breaking records in ballooning, sailing, and flying, but in 2007, he disappeared. On September 3rd, Fossett borrowed a Belanca Super Decathlon from a friend and took off from a private airstrip in Nevada. It was supposed to be a casual solo flight, just some fun flying over the Sierra Nevada mountains. He didn't file a flight plan, but hey, the guy had survived near-death situations before. What could go wrong? When he failed to return, the search was launched. The Air Force, Civil Air Patrol, private pilots, everyone was looking for him. They found dozens of previously unknown crash sites, but none were his. It was like he had just been plucked out of the sky. Well, a year later in 2008, a hiker found some of Fossett's ID and cash in the mountains near Mammoth Lakes, California. That finally led search teams to the wreckage of his plane scattered across a remote hillside. There was no sign of an explosion, no sign he tried to eject. It was just wreckage, as if the plane had flown straight into the mountain. The official cause was disorientation from high winds and turbulence, so mystery solved? Well, not for everyone. Some people still think something doesn't add up. Fossett was an experienced pilot. Why wouldn't he radio for help? Why did it take over a year to find the crash site when it wasn't that far off from where he took off? And why did some of his personal items turn up almost half a mile away from the wreckage? Maybe it was just a tragic accident. Maybe there's more to the story. With all that said though, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.